is General Manager of WQKT and was sponsored by Becky Foster. While we present that badge, I would like to say thank you to Josie Weaver Krantz. She does all of our badges, both red and blue, and we've been keeping her quite busy lately, so thank you so much. The nominating committee, there are ballots on your table, or you did receive an email. You can vote in person or online. Annually, we elect a nominating committee who prepares a slate for the club to approve of our future officers. Becky Foster will be coming around. If you haven't already turned in your ballot, please just hold it once and she will collect those. Becky also has a traveling microphone, which she will pick up right here. Sorry. We will start right where you're standing with dividing.
My guest today is Sarah Green, Executive Director at the Wayne Center for the Arts.
We'll go across to Katie Holden.
My guest today is Mr. Alan Robb. He is the past CEO and chairman of the Wooster Rotary Company.
And also a past member of Wooster Rotary for a long time. Thank you. And Azumi will have an update.
Hello, I'm belonging to cross country. First time, to be honest, I was worried about being able to make friends. However, everyone was friendly and very kind. I'm happy to have friends. My school life has become better. Next is about fair. I went to the fair for the first time. And I went to the Malaysian Derby for the first time. I have to say it was amazing. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for that update. Don Noble has an announcement, and after that, Becky Well has other guests that she will introduce. Thank you.
So 20 years ago, where were you 20 years ago? On your tables, you'll see a flyer I put out. We're inviting you, your family, friends, anybody you'd like to bring. But it's 20 years of the Alice Noble skating rink. And we're having a celebration next Sunday, the 25th, from 2 to 4. My understanding is our own Ted Bogner might be there. We'll be there with my dad and make you say a few words. But we're having free skate rental, free open skate, refreshments. So it should be a good time and help my family and celebrate 20 years of the Alice Noble Ice Rink. Thank you. Or they call it the Alice Palace, is the acronym that people are using now, which I think is pretty cool. The Alice Palace. So thank you.
I have two guests today. I brought with me today our Wooster High School computer science teacher, Nathan Green, and also our curriculum coordinator, Sarah.
Yeah, you should all get out and try to skate again. I'm sure you'll find it a very interesting experience. This time, I would ask Nick Cassarelli to come up and do his classification.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank our speaker for coming because Greg told me that I was about to talk about COVID for half an hour. I'm having as Greg had said, my name is Nick Cascarelli. I am your health commissioner for Wayne County. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio. I've been a public health professional for 22 years. The first 11 was at the Mahoney County Health Department. There, I did community health education, where I focused in that 11-year period, mostly on childhood lead poisoning prevention. And then the other part of that, I did some tobacco use prevention and control. In the fall of 2011, I got the position as the health commissioner at the Carroll County Health Department. And I was there through the end of 2014. Beginning of 2015, I came here. So, and I'm very happy I came here. It's a wonderful community. People, the rest of my family is still back in the Youngstown area, and I tell them this is a great place to raise a family. I currently live in Worcester, and obviously when I got the position, we moved here in 2015. My wife, has been a guest for 29 years, Christina, that poor woman, put up with me that long. We had 3 children together. We kind of put off having a family, but my oldest, Nadia, she's 13 and she'll be 14 next month. And then my son Nicholas, or we call him Nico, he will be 11 this Wednesday. And Mila, my youngest, she is 9. So make sure I covered everything that brought my, trying to organize, but I received some guiding questions, if you will, and I think they were really good questions to kind of, put, some of this all in their perspective. The first question was, what are you passionate about? And, the obvious ones are, certainly there, my work. I'm very passionate about what I do, and certainly my family. Those are the things that I'm really passionate about. Not too fancy. I don't have any of these really far out cool hobbies. I guess I need to get one, but pandemic kind of made it a little difficult for me to do anything but so. And the second question was proposed was, why do you do what you do professionally? And as a good soldier of public health and being a public health professional, it's really my goal to want to see everyone achieve optimal health. And then whatever that form or shape that it's in, is we certainly in the health department, yes, we have a regulatory side to what we do, but that's also rooted in protecting the community's health. And then the last question I was given was, how does Rotary fit into your life? Well, I looked at the focus areas, and 4 of those areas are directly things that I do professionally or at least manage. Disease prevention and treatment, not so much the treatment aspect of it, but certainly disease prevention is what we do with the health department. Water, sanitation, hygiene. Again, especially in areas where there's not city water and sewer. We obviously, we have a big hand in that in terms of making sure, non-publicly supplied water and sewage is not doing anything to harm others. Maternal and child health, we do that too. through vaccines as well as the WIC program. So we do a lot of those things that are focus areas for Rotary. So it's a natural fit. And then the environment, obviously, we do a lot with working with various other agencies and those types of things. And then the other 3, I think we at the health department, and what I do from a professional standpoint, we certainly have, these are things we are interested in, so maybe not directly, but certainly indirectly, those other 3 focus areas are very important to what I do. Basic education and literacy. The literature is pretty clear. The more educated people are, the healthier they are. It's, obviously there's exceptions to the rule, but in general, with folks who are more educated are less likely to engage in risky behaviors from that standpoint. Community economic development, very important. The way the economy goes is the way health departments go. For those of you who remember 2008, it's bad, and it impacted local health departments and local health departments all across the country had to lay people off. So it's important that we have a strong economy support for health departments too. There's got to be businesses for us to inspect. If there's not, you know, we don't, there's no need for as many people. Certainly we don't want to lay people off. And then the first one that's listed is peace building and conflict resolution. Well, if you had asked me 3 years ago, what's that all about in terms of health departments and what does that have to do? But I've had my share of conflict throughout the pandemic. But I think the important thing, and my message has always been, as we are coming out of this pandemic, is yes, we have differences in different ways of thinking, but we really need to kind of heal that because there's quite a bit of vitriol throughout the pandemic. So when I get the opportunity to talk, whether if it's on WQKT or whatever, you know, it's important that we get together and yes, we have differences, but let's find that common ground and let's do it for the betterment of the entire community. And then I did skip a question that I was given. And who are your most important relationships? Well, certainly my team at the health department. Yes, I'm the figurehead and I'm the people that, you know, you see on YouTube or you heard on the radio. But that doesn't happen. All that stuff doesn't happen without my team. So I'm very passionate about the work they do and you know, the work they've done and the things they've had to go through in terms of dealing with the pandemic. Not quite on the same order as some of our healthcare providers, especially those in the hospitals and what they had to deal through and the nursing homes and those folks. So it's a different level, but nonetheless, certainly could not have done any of the things that we've done without the team. I couldn't do it all myself. Some other important relationships are our hospital systems, our social service agencies, our mental health agencies, our governmental systems, our media partners. And then, you know, honestly, the most important relationships in my family. I mean, so, am I at my time? Okay. So, oh, I guess I forgot to mention, I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a doctorate. So, thank you.
Thank you. It's great to have you as a Rotarian, and I can only imagine how hard his job was starting in 2020. Of course, before COVID, nobody knew who he was. Now everybody knows who he is. He's a hero. We could have made him into the program with no issue. He could sit up here for an hour and talk about that, whether you liked it or not. So anyway, it is a welcome to our guests. Al, it's great to see you back. We hope you can, Katie can talk you into coming more often. And Nathan, and we had two Sarahs today. That's the first time we had two Sarah Brooks and Sarah Grant. So welcome all of you. I hope you enjoyed the program today. And today's speaker will be introduced by Becky Brown.
Emily Turner has almost 30 years experience in economic, community, and workforce development. Emily started her career in economic and community development, working with Butler County, the city of Dayton, and the state of Ohio to attract and retain businesses. As a private sector consultant with a Big Four accounting firm, her clients included government entities and a broad range of companies from technology startups to Fortune 500 companies. Her strategic thinking and thorough understanding of her corporate clients led to securing over $200 million in financial incentives to support technology development and increase employment. Emily also spent 6 years as the executive director of the Ohio Association of Goodwill Industries, where she worked with Judy Delaney. and helped the 16 independent goodwill and business organizations to identify opportunities for collaboration and expansion of their workforce development programs. She currently works at the Ohio Department of Higher Education and serves as the director of the Choose Ohio First program, which you're going to hear about today. It's a $250 million scholarship program designed to increase access to STEM education for Ohio residents. Emily holds a master's degree in public administration and a bachelor's degree in political science, and enjoys camping, skiing, and spending time with her husband and son watching nerdy movies. Welcome, Emily.
Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you about Choose Ohio First and to meet with all of you. As Rebecca mentioned, I have fond memories and thoughts of Wooster, working with Judy Delaney and Bob Talcott up here when I was with Goodwill Industries. So it's kind of nice to be back. I was hoping that Judy would be here. I'm not sure if she's a member or not, but I know she's deeply involved in the community. So anyway, currently I work with the Department of Higher Education and I run the Choose Ohio First program. And I'm just really excited to talk to you about this program. It's going to be informational, I think, and helpful to you if you have students who are pursuing post-secondary education, or even adult learners who are interested in going back to school, earning a certificate, a degree, or further their education. And finally, if you are in business and you are looking for employees or some talent to bring into your company, I think Choose Ohio First is also really important for you as well. So let's start off with a vision for the state of Ohio. The state of Ohio and the Department of Higher Education has a vision for 65% of Ohio's workforce, those ages between 25 and 64, will have a degree or certificate or credential of value by 2025. This is the underpinning for all of the Department of Higher Education's work. And we approach that in a couple of different ways. My office is the Office of Workforce Alignment. And so we work with businesses and education providers to make sure that the programs that are being provided to today's students of all ages align with what the workforce needs are. Our Division of Academic Affairs also works with businesses, but their focus really is kind of the collaboration between educational organizations to make sure that there's a pathway or an easy transfer of credit and knowledge and skill sets when folks are moving between industry recognized credentials and degree seeking students and so forth. We in Ohio have a couple challenges ahead of us to achieve that vision. First of all, our attainment rate is a little bit lower than the national average. The national average is 51.9%. In Ohio, currently, we're at about 49.5% with an attainment level. We are making some ground, we're making up some ground on that. There's been about a 6.1% increase in degrees since 2009. And we've also seen some growth once we've started to really include those certificates and credentials of value as well in this count. But another challenge that we're facing is that our population is declining. So there's fewer and fewer young people that we will have entering the workforce. So that means that we're going to not only need to make sure that those folks have the education and the skills they need to be prosperous in this economy, but our current working adults also need to make sure that they're skilling up and that they have the knowledge and education that they can use in the workplace. Freshman enrollment, our first year students, that enrollment level is declining. And then we're also seeing with this pandemic, we're not seeing the rebound that we would like to see. So even though we've had a lot of students not enroll in college in the past couple of years, now that things are kind of moving beyond the disruption of the pandemic that your health commissioner had to deal with, and all of us had to deal with, we're not really seeing a rebound of students going back to school or starting school as we would like to see. The job market out there, though, is still highly valuing associates and bachelor's degrees. This chart here shows the net job growth that's predicted in Ohio on my education level. And you can see that bachelor's degrees and associate degrees, and even post-secondary non-degree awards, like the credentials and certificates, are going to be in high demand. There's also the bottom chart of this, or the bottom bar of this chart shows no formal education and the growth in those jobs, and that is growing, but the economic opportunity for those jobs just isn't there. As you can see with this next slide, which shows the Ohio top jobs and the average median salary for each of those jobs. So kind of the bottom bar or the bottom row of this chart shows all degrees, and the median and average salary for the top jobs with a degree would be around $77,000. The jobs that are available or growing in Ohio that require high school or less, or some college or no degree, the average median salary is around $44,000-$45,000. So those degrees do pay off in Ohio, and our job at the Department of Higher Education is to try and find ways to make that as feasible and accessible as possible for all Ohioans. So now let's talk about the fun stuff and some of the things that we're doing to help improve the attainment rate and make college more accessible to students. Choose Ohio First is a multi-year STEM scholarship, and it's available to students who are in STEM or in STEM educator programs. So if you want to become a science teacher, math teacher, computer science teacher, these scholarships are available to you. And if you're not familiar with the term STEM, it means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. As a political science major, that was not my world. That was not something I was interested in or thought I would ever be interested in. At the Department of Higher Education in the Choose Ohio First world, we have a list of about 995 academic programs that would qualify as STEM for this program. And I can tell you there's dozens of them that would interest me as somebody who is not a STEM person. So I think the first thing to take away is if you have young people out there or you hear the word STEM, think very, very broadly about what that would include, because a lot of students think that that's not for them, but it very well could be. The scholarships are offered at over 63 colleges and universities across Ohio. I have a handout out here that has a map on it, so you'll be able to take that home with you and see the exact institutions where it's offered. And then those institutions run their own scholarship programs. And so I'll get into a little bit more of that in a little bit here. But the program has grown tremendously over the years. It started 15 years ago with at that time Speaker of the House, John Husted, who wanted to keep talent in Ohio. And so since that time, the program has grown tremendously. In the past 3 years, the state of Ohio has invested over $133 million in scholarships for Ohio students, $220 million in total since the beginning of the program. But you can see how over half of that has been in the last 3 years, and this program is just absolutely exploding with commitment to our students and to our future workforce. We estimate right now that there'll be at least 13,000 students that will be able to benefit from this most recent investment of $133 million. We could not do this program without the support of the colleges and universities. They match the scholarships dollar for dollar, either through in-kind services or with scholarships of their own. And we obviously could not do this without the support of the General Assembly and all of you. These are taxpayer dollars. This is discretionary funds that the General Assembly and the administration makes a decision every 2 years as to where to spend the discretionary dollars. And so this truly is an investment by the state of Ohio into the state of Ohio. So the eligibility from the state standpoint is very simple. You must be an Ohio resident. And you also must be new to a STEM or STEM education program. So I want to be very specific about that because it's not new to STEM, it's new to the STEM program. So for example, maybe I have a background as a state tested nursing aide, but I want to go on to pursue my license in registered nursing. I would be eligible for the program because I'm new to the registered nursing program. I'm not new to STEM. I'm new to the program. It's also available to undergraduates, graduate students, and also those 4 credit certificate seekers. There's a very strong emphasis in Choose Ohio First to recruit underrepresented students into STEM fields. And in Ohio, that is a very broad definition of underrepresented students. It could be gender, for example, men in nursing, or it could be women in engineering, could be racial minorities, ethnic minorities, the first generation college students. We have a lot of students in Ohio that don't have any family history of going to college. And so we're looking for those underrepresented students in those STEM fields to be recruited into those programs. Students who are seeking degrees could receive up to $8,000 or over $8,000 per year for their scholarship. The average right now is about $4,000, but the maximum is $8,600. And then again, it's multi-year. It's not just for the first year. It's promised to that student through the lifetime of their academic career. For credit certificate seekers, on average, it has actually the same upper limit, but on average, what we're seeing is around $2,700 per year as a scholarship. So I mentioned how we could not do this program without the institutions, without the colleges and universities. The way this works is the Department of Higher Education grants money to those colleges. We do a competitive request for proposals, and each institution lays out kind of their plan for the Choose Ohio First of a scholarship program. They select the academic areas that they want to include. So it might just be healthcare fields, it might be engineering and science, or it could be a broad selection off of that list of 995 academic areas. So they select what they'd like to include. They tell us about their retention and recruitment tactics, how they're going to support their students to success. We definitely want to see students graduate in this program. And then also what work-based learning and research opportunities they're going to provide those students, which is a requirement. Every Choose Ohio First scholar must participate in some sort of work-based learning or research opportunity. So again, that is where the employers in the area are very, very important to be able to provide those work-based learning experiences for students. Institutions also tell us how they're going to facilitate transfers between maybe a 2-year institution and a 4-year, or how they're going to help facilitate the achievement of a 4-credit certificate into an associate's degree. And then also we have an annual student showcase where students participate and show off kind of what they've learned and what they're researching and how brilliant they are. Each institution receives a 5-year grant. So when we do grant money, there's a 5-year opportunity. New students are recruited under that grant cycle every year for 5 years. So this really truly is a broad, large, huge investment. So when you think about those numbers of $220 million or $133 million, it is year after year after year, and we're in this program at least through 2028 and hopefully beyond. This is a map of our institutions that participate in Choose Ohio First. I know it's hard to read, but again, once you get this handout, you'll see this on the back of the handout. It's also available on our website. And this is actually probably the most important thing to take away with you. I don't know, Rebecca, if I'm going to try clicking on and see if we can get through to our website. But once you, let's see, and if not, that's fine. I can describe it. Okay, I'll go ahead and describe it. Once you go to our website, it lists every single institution that, oh, here we go, that participates. All right. So you can see here at the top, there's our Choose Ohio First logo, participating institutions. Let's go to Northeast Ohio, and you can start to see the list here of all the institutions that are participating in Choose Ohio First. Wooster, unfortunately, is not one of them, but we would love for them to participate in the future. Well, let's go to the University of Akron. And the University of Akron, they have several grants. This award number on the left-hand side really is meaningless to all of you, but it helps us keep things organized. But you can see in the middle column here, all of the programs that they have available under their Choose Ohio First Scholarship Program. And most importantly, there's the contact name. There's a real human being that you can contact, their website or their email address and their phone number. That's the most important thing. So if you have a student who's interested in this area, check out the list of institutions and what they're providing for their scholarships, what areas they're interested in: chemistry, teacher education, aerospace, advanced manufacturing, and then contact that person at the institution. So let's see here. Let's go back. Wow, this is nice. We got a good setup. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of wrap up here and we'll see if there's any questions. And if we have a little bit more time, I might talk about some of the other fun things that we're doing at ODHE. But the key takeaways here is that when you hear Choose Ohio First, think about it as a STEM and STEM Educator Scholarship Program. The applicants apply through the institutions, not to the state of Ohio, but to each college or university that has the scholarship program. It is part of an overarching strategy to retain and develop the workforce here in Ohio. And it is essential to us to have employers participate and have the institutions participate so that we can build that work-based learning and hands-on experience for those students so that when they graduate, they are absolutely ready for the workforce. I'll stop there and see if there's any questions and I get to put a plug in for some of our other things. Okay, great. Let me just, I have a couple of I'll just do a very high level of some of the other things that the Department of Higher Education that we're working on. First of all, here's my contact information. I'll do this with Rebecca. But I want to mention, I was talking about how we at the Department of Higher Education and the head of our department is Chancellor Randy Gardner. Chancellor Gardner really approaches post-secondary education as kind of an all of the above approach. That means, again, we're trying to open as many doors as possible. So within the Department of Higher Education, we also work with the Ohio Technical Centers that provide, they're similar to community colleges, but they provide a little different type of education. These are usually clock hour programs that are non-credit programs, but they definitely fill that niche for the middle skilled jobs. So these are the types of programs, with CNC machining, IT systems, entry-level nursing programs and healthcare programs, welding, dental assisting. The OTCs, the Ohio Technical Centers, provide a really important avenue for education and access for Ohioans. We recently launched a commercial driver's license student aid program. This is half loan, half grant for folks to earn a commercial driver's license. We then grant money to the schools that are offering these licensure programs, and students who then end up working in Ohio will have that loan forgiven after they've worked in Ohio for a certain amount of time. Short-term certificate grant program also goes to our community colleges. And these are for, again, short-term certificates that can be accomplished in less than 30 credit hours. It's up to $2,000 per student. And it's another way of upskilling and training Ohio's existing workforce. And then this is the ITAGs. It's something we mentioned briefly with the Academic Affairs Office. This is something where our work division of workforce development and our workforce alignment and academic affairs work really closely together. We have a number of these initiatives, but ITAGs are the industry recognized credential transfer assurance guide, which is great government speak for saying, if you have that industry recognized credential, like the HVAC or the CNC certificate or credential, and you want to go pursue an associate's degree or bachelor's degree, there is a known and set amount of credit that would be given to that individual for having that certificate or credential. So it's very transparent. You know what that's going to kind of get you when you enroll in college and what it's worth. And so we're trying to create these pathways that once you start, this lifelong learning process, you can continue it and you can know that, investing in yourself, investing in your workforce can also lead to additional future education and training. And then last but not least is our Tech Cred program. I suspect a lot of you have heard about this. This has gotten a lot of press. The Tech Cred program goes to employers, and it's a way for them to pay for, again, technology training and certificates and upgrades to their existing workforce to, again, help individuals attain the skills that they need in today's workforce. So that, I think, is kind of a quick overview of my other department, the other plugs for some of the other things that we're doing in the Department of Higher Education. There's a question.
Question?
I have a feeling you're gonna ask me something I don't know since it's after all of this other stuff and not choose Ohio first.
Just wanted to ask, are the Choose Ohio First scholarships available only to Ohio students? Or can anyone apply? And what are the retention components, keeping people in Ohio once they receive that scholarship?
Great questions. So to be eligible for the scholarship, you must be an Ohio resident. It's only for Ohio residents. The institutions determine residency, they do for every student that, for in-state tuition or out-of-state tuition. So that's determined by the college or university, but it's only for Ohio residents. And the retention rates, we are just finishing up a new study to look at that. So this is out there, but we haven't advertised the website yet. But our most recent numbers show that 78% of the Choose Ohio First scholars are either employed in Ohio 1 year after they graduate, or they're pursuing additional education in Ohio. Well, I don't know if that's in Ohio, so let me backtrack that. But over 78% are either employed in Ohio 1 year after or pursuing additional education. So we're looking at that as a very high success rate because there's no requirement. We don't have any kind of a requirement for students to stay. We're just hoping that once they have that education here in Ohio and have that work-based learning, we're connected to employers and they see the opportunities for them, that they'll stay. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
In appreciation for your time with us today, we'd like to present you a rendition of the Rotary Wheel, the four-way test on the back. And it's made locally by students in Village County.
Wow, thank you so much.
Pleasure to have you today.
Thank you.
you. All right, well, we are pleased to have our many guests here today. We hope you enjoyed the program. Now, next week's program will be Dan Flowers, CEO of the Akron Canton Regional Food Bank, giving us an overview of COVID and where we are today with the food supply. And Lynn wanted me to remind anybody that had ballots out there to get them to the podium before you leave, or you can probably still go online. If we have so many new members, that probably don't know most of the people on the ballot, you could talk to your sponsor. It would probably be the right person to find out who the rest of them are. Some you've seen up here, other ones you haven't. So
Actually, Greg, Becky Foster is volunteered to pick them up at the back, so if you're going out, just bring them in the back.
there's your voice from the past. That's back there. So anyway, I hope that all of you have a great week and we stand adjourned.